Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with all the Flat Earth Debate Uncut and after show goodness. If you would like to support this channel, there is a PayPal link in the info box below the video, together with Patreon and crypto. There's also a super chat that runs alongside each of the shows while they premiere. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion or watch the show live, there is a link to the temporary live channel, which is Flat Earth Debate Live, in the info box below this video. Now, we're currently joined by Anthony Riley, who's got some interesting news to tell me about Arwin apparently, so hopefully you'll catch up with him and he'll tell me all about what's so exciting. How you doing, Anthony?
I wasn't going to do it online. Let me just think what I can say. I can't say it online. It's private, so we'll have to stay off, I'm afraid.
You're kidding.
Yeah, it is what it is. Unfortunately, you prematurely jumped before you should have done. But it is what it is.
Oh, okay.
Have you got anybody in your real world that challenges you on your questioning of the sphere?
Yeah, everybody. You're joking.
Real life.
Everybody I speak to challenges me on that. My brother, my sister, my mother,
I don't mean on YouTube. I mean in your daily life.
Yeah, my whole family.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, all right. Okay. Well, one of my YouTube friends, when I share links to videos or whatever, he often comments and he asks all the right questions, but he does it in a polite and dismissive way. So I've invited him over to mine to bring some tinnies round and have a drink. Basically have an interaction, do a live hangout with him sat next to me, basically to show him that I'm not the only gay in the village on this point. There's lots of us, and we all question it. And basically to try and have an interaction with him, and he can see some of the dickheads, he can see some of the normal people, and basically see if I can not necessarily convert him, but at least open his eyes to the possibility that, hey, if he's not the only gay in the village, perhaps there might be something in this. So if it does happen, it probably, I don't know exactly when it'll be, should be within the next week. You better be around to play some part in it, because
well, definitely.
I don't know.
I'm going to do some shilling on the show today. So I've invited Flat Earth Perth. Do you know who he is?
I do.
I've invited Flat Earth Perth to come on because he started a GoFundMe campaign. Can you see this if I share screens? I don't know.
It's for a 30 times optical
oh, you've seen it,
isn't it?
Yes. So I've basically I chipped him $15, not a great deal of money, for his campaign to get this drone-mounted 30 times zoom camera, and the way he phrased it, which sold me immediately, was basically that he wants people to actually be part of the event, if you know what I mean, the observations that it will produce by contributing. And the same thing has happened with you, the same thing has happened with Ranty, not necessarily with equipment with you, it was with a concept, but ultimately speaking, it's something that I definitely think is worth, actually contributing to. I think it's a good cause. So for that reason, I've said, look, I've done this for Ranty, I've done this for Anthony, I would like to shill for your GoFundMe. Come on the show, I'll promote it, I'll talk about it throughout the show, check how the funds are progressing as the show progresses live. Obviously it won't be in real time if you're watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980 or the Nathan Oakley channel, but nonetheless, when it was live, I will shill to the best of my ability, and I will stick a link in the re-ups, i.e. on Nathan Oakley and Nathan Oakley 1980. In fact, I should plug that for future reference. So if you are watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980 or the Nathan Oakley YouTube channel, there will be a link to the GoFundMe campaign for Flat Earth Perth in the info box below both of these videos. Obviously we're going to plug it live, but you're not watching it live, so you're not going to get to see the donations come in, if any. Hopefully you will join and people will be enthusiastic about his GoFundMe campaign, which I am definitely keen to shill for. So that's precisely what we'll be doing throughout the show, Anthony. If it's good by you, I'd hope that you'll play along in the same way you did when it was Ranty's Ranty-a-thon for his P1000.
Okay, so in the context of what you've just said, then it makes sense now to just mention what's just happened with Arwin. Obviously, Arwin's currently recording live, broadcasting live, and there was a shill in his chat. I don't know, I can't remember who it was. It's some faceless potato warrior that's out there that's got no subs, no nothing. and he was trying to stir the shit pot, and he was criticising basically your panel, like the people that come on this show, that would be me and others, that basically what he's pointed out is that there's an absence of support for Arwin when Arwin supports Nathan. And my view was, well, all he's doing is shit stirring. And I was just prepared to ignore it. But what he realised, or what he made me realise, not realise, but made me put into perspective, was not so much the point, but more the amount of weight you should give to that point. Because he is right. On the face of it, he's right. But from my perspective, there's a good reason for that. And the good reason is because he told me to very violently and aggressively to fuck off, I don't need you, in this really overreactive, melodramatic, and that pisses me off. So I don't publicly support him in that way. However, I realised that I should do, and just to piss this guy off, I gave him a 10 quid donation with no message in his super chat. It was just 10 quid, no message. And literally, you should have seen his reaction when he got it. He was like, "Sleeping Warrior, thank you very much." And then he had no idea where his mind was for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds. He was literally, his face was down. He was clearly thinking, what should I do with this? How should I respond? And then he had to go back onto the point he was on previously. And he had absolutely no idea what he was talking about because he'd totally got distracted because he got kicked in the dick in a good way. So we got a donation, right? And it's not that it's a lot of money. It's just that some guy was giving him shit in chat, and it prompted me to show that I did support him. I just don't do it expressly. And what I've also done is I've added his name to my list of shout-outs, which I think Nathan needs to also have a list of shout-outs for other channels, so that we're all in the same boat, so that basically we can all support each other. But Arwin's now made it on there, and he shoved somebody across a little bit to the left. And if you want to see who that is, you'll have to tune in after Nathan's show, because that's when I'll probably go live. Maybe immediately after, or maybe 2 or 3 hours after. But I'm just showing that there is support for Arwin, and it's not fair that he's some shit stir in the pot just because he's a faceless warrior or whatever. So I was just giving him a little bit of support.
No, good for you. I've always tried to prop up Arwin, and sometimes it's in the face of stroppiness from him directed at me. But it's all about give and take, isn't it? You know, I had a similar experience the other day with Jaren. So Jaren and I, on a professional level, get on extremely well. Behind the scenes, on a non-professional level, like anybody, we've had our disagreements about things. So that's normal, same as with Arwin. But I got my first Patreon. It was Jaren, and I saw it. And I lie. I didn't see it. He actually told me, so I got a Skype message from it because I didn't know how to get the notifications and things. So until I checked that, I just got a message from Jaren. By the way, I'm your first Patreon. I was like, really? You know, I was genuinely touched. You know, it really made me happy. Yeah. So yeah, it's the fact that, you know, sometimes Arwin will, as you phrase it, kick you in the dick. Not that Jaren's ever kicked me in the dick, I've got to be honest. That's not how it is. I'm just saying, as an example of somebody that I look up to and have a reasonably good relationship with on and off air. Not that it's extensive, but you know what I mean. I know the guy. And occasionally there's going to be things that he says that I disagree with, or I say that he disagrees with. It never leaks into the public bit, though, does it? It's never going to be an issue. But with Arwin, it's a different tale, because, you know, we're interacting so often that the bit that's actually broadcast becomes like our little social interaction as well. So some of the infighting spills through into the debate. Can't be helped. We don't agree with him on gravity, for example.
Well, no, I think he's diluted his position rather wisely. But listen, it's 59 minutes past or 2 or whatever. You need to flick the switch and let's go live. Okie
dokie, let's do exactly that. I'll get my my opening page on the screen and stick you on mute, and off we go.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now we are joined by Flat Earth Perth and Sleeping Warrior. How are you both doing?
Hey Dave, how you going?
We did have Travis, but he's dropped.
I know, I noticed Travis came and went very, very quickly, but I'm sure he'll be back. Red Hen Radio, for those who want his...
Unless it was the dodgy one. Let me just open up the back chat, bear with me.
I haven't actually stick the link out yet, and I'm not going to until I've done a little bit of shilling for somebody who's probably very tired over in Perth. So let's say a bit of an introduction, because this is you've only been on a couple of times before in the past. So can you say hello?
Yeah, hey Nate, how you going?
Very well indeed.
Is that the delay because we're going all around the earth?
Can you guys hear me?
We hear you perfectly. It's all good.
Okay.
So I saw your GoFundMe campaign, and basically I thought it's an exceptionally good idea. I didn't actually know that the thing that you were doing the fundraiser for even existed. So when you showed it, I was like, that's cool, that's useful, that's new. Yeah, people have got drones, but not many people have got a drone with a 30 times zoom on it. And the way you kind of phrased it, which sucked me into actually donating, was to say that it creates a sense of involvement with the community if you're all contributing it to it. And you kind of, I'm paraphrasing here, but you said words to the effect of, I could just pay for this myself, but ultimately that's not going to achieve anything in terms of getting people... Well, like me doing this now, you know, that wouldn't be achieved if you weren't doing a GoFundMe for it. If you just went out and bought it and produced some footage, I might go, that's nice, and give you a thumbs up. But now I'm properly involved because you've done a GoFundMe for it, which is, for me, one of the ulterior reasons for doing a GoFundMe. It's not just about making money for the actual campaign. It's about genning up support and, what's the word? Like advertising about what you're doing into the community. So that's why I'm promoting it, and hopefully you'll tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not about to something that I'm going to have. I don't see me needing a 30 zoom drone camera, you know, for the rest of my life. It'll be observations, and then whoever in the Flat Earth community wants to have it sent to them can just simply send me an email, and we'll. There are other versions of that camera that are $20,000. You can buy other 30 zoom drone cameras for 30 grand, but so this one is only like $1,700. So it's pretty good value.
Have you got any idea what you'll be doing with it?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we'll be doing is going up to the Perth Hills, and I've got another killer observation that I've been working on today, which I can tell you about. But what we're going to do is go up to the Perth Hills and not worry about... So when we go to the Perth Hills, you can't see Rottnest because it's not actually a flat plain. There's hills going right up towards the ocean. Just sit there on, say, 250 meters on the average Perth Hill, and then we can launch the drone straight up to probably 500 meters or, and then from there we're going to zoom into Rottnest, and according to the curve calcs, the rock sit on the horizon line. So if we see that horizon line, you know, 10 kilometers past where the island is, where Rottnest Island is, then that's not where the horizon should be. The horizon, the Rottnest should actually be sitting on the horizon, and we shouldn't see past Rottnest. So if you can see a wall of water behind Rottnest from the zoom camera, it's game over for the globe.
Excellent stuff.
For some reason, you're dropping quite bad. I don't know if it's me or whether it's...
We're getting 90% of what you're saying. You just drop every you know, like I say, 5 out of every 60 seconds. But don't worry.
Let me change my internet setting, and we'll see if that fixes it.
Okie doke. The best thing to do in the Hangout is if you go to the cog, you can actually lower the. Oh no, where's it gone? Oh, I thought you could ignore me. Maybe not. Oh, there we go. It's next to the camera. Adjust bandwidth usage, because you're not using your camera. Just set it to the minimum, and that should sort it out. So if you move your mouse over the Hangout page at the top where you've got the camera and mic and stuff, the one next to the camera is adjust bandwidth usage. I'm going to do some shout outs. So there's already been a few people donate in, you know, just it's only been up a day, but we've got Ryan Q Vincent. So massive shout out to Ryan Q for donating to Flat Earth Perth's GoFundMe campaign. Colin Cope Daniels, massive shout out to you as well. Barry George, huge shout out to you for contributing. And then Karen McKee also contributed. So shout out to all of those people who've already donated to the campaign. I'm going to stick a link right now into the live chat box. So hopefully there's somebody who's got some generosity in their veins this morning for us. And you'll go and check out his campaign. And we will come back to it periodically throughout the show. Hey, Travis.
Hello, hello, hello.
You're a bit quiet. Let's turn you up.
Hello, hello, hello.
That's better. So, if it's okay with you guys...
Yeah, we should be right now. I've adjusted the settings now.
Perfect. Yeah, you're a bit better. Hopefully it won't drop as much.
So when you say it's going to stay in the community, what does that mean?
All right. So what that means is that when we get the camera will cost, you know, probably $1,700. We'll get $1,000 donated. I'll cover the rest of it. And what we're going to end up with is a 30 by zoom drone camera of the whole Flat Earth community. So once I'm finished with it, all someone needs to do, I'm assuming after they watch the video, other people will want it, get them to email me, and then I'll pay for the shipping and I'll just ship it over to them. Because it's just a good camera, and we can easily box it up and all over the world. So if someone's donated $2 or $5 or $10, it's not just for my observation. It should go for a few years, and there should be researchers that take advantage of it.
Essentially, you'll do your observations, and then people will obviously see it. We'll hopefully get permission to use some of the glorious footage. I've got to be honest, it's like when I saw Tim, the thing that excites me, and I will shout him out, Tim Osman's got a drone, and he's got some absolutely spectacular footage from it. It's just a DJI Pro. It's got the normal lens on it, but it's spectacular. Yeah, it's got all the limitations of that standard lens. So you think, well, what would be better is if you could go up and zoom. That would be fantastic. Nothing obstructing you. You don't have to find some hill. You just power up your drone, up you go, have a look, come back down, study what you've got. Your actual filming time could probably be done in minutes.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It's really frustrating driving around the hills and trying to find you know, a line of sight to Rottnest. I've tried and tried and tried. I've been up mountains. I've gotten my car bogged several times trying to get there, and it's too hard. Whereas with the drone zoom, it'd be easy. Just go to the hills, power it up another 200 meters, and that's enough to capture where the horizon line is. We don't need super detail. All we need to do is just identify where the horizon line is.
Have we lost you?
Sounds that way, doesn't it?
I've got your campaign video, the first one that you launched out, so it's just basically showing, I think it takes through verbally what you've just said, which is to say that you've gone to loads of locations on a given day to see what you can get, and just your frustration in not being able to just do it there and then, which you could with a zoom on a drone. But you're driving around here, there and everywhere to sort of capture what you're capturing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you just burn through a ton of. I've burnt through several tires. Got myself bogged 3 or 4 times. Scratches all down my car. It's just ridiculous. It's time to know when to give up on that and when to just get a better tool for the job.
I mean, in terms of the amount of work that you're putting in, it's on par with Ranty. So for people who aren't familiar with what you're doing, I'm going to also share the link to Flat Earth Perth's videos, so you can go and subscribe to him now. So again, I'm going to stick both the GoFundMe and the link to Flat Earth Perth's channel in both the re-ups on Nathan Oakley and Nathan Oakley 1980. But if you are watching live now, obviously come back. But yeah, go and check out Flat Earth Perth's video. You'll see exactly what you're seeing on screen now, admittedly, but just with audio and him expressing his frustration at the kind of level of work that he's doing. But you are kind of like the Aussie version of Ranty in the amount of work you do. In other words, you're out doing a lot, right?
A similarity between myself and Ranty. I look at a lot of Ranty's work and get a lot of inspiration from him, and same from Anthony as well. And it doesn't matter where in the world you are, the Earth's flat no matter where we go. So there should be opportunities for observations no matter where we go. I did today that I'm going to be working on a video in the next couple of days is looking at similar to Miles Davis's current work, you know, mountains, and comparing different objects with mountains.
You mean Miles? You mean the saxophone player Miles Davis? Oh no,
yeah, that's the one.
No, you mean Miles the Liar Davis. Oh, that's the one. I thought you were on about the saxophone player. Sorry.
So the advantage of doing that style of observation is that when you do observations over the water, you're very much limited by the weather. So when the water chop gets up, which in Perth, being a windy city, is almost every day, then you're very limited to what you can do. But if you get up and start comparing objects, and if I can share my screen, Nate, I can show you a quick video of what I did today.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
So just hit the...
Shout out to Red Pill Philosophy.
I've just got to up the bandwidth. Hang on a sec.
No worries. Be another chance to promote your GoFundMe. So again, in the info box below, whatever video you are watching and hearing this, there will be a link to the GoFundMe if you're watching in the live show. There has been a PayPal contribution. Why is PMAR saying I'm censoring people? Sorry, again, distracted by the live chat because I've been posting things in it. So yeah, there is a link to the GoFundMe, which will go periodically into the live chat as well.
Nathan, did you get why?
There we go.
Did you get why I said shout out to Red Pill?
Yeah, we did hear you shout out to Red Pill Philosophy.
No, did you get why I said it?
No.
Have a look on the GoFundMe page.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do that before we get into your shot. So you are on screen, but I'm just going to take you off again. Sorry, Perth. So let's have a look.
That's right, you're right.
Ah, Red Pill Philosophy, indeed, for a $30 donation. Thank you very much indeed, Red Pill Philosophy. Right, we've got you back on screen now.
Let me just mute that.
Yeah, it's all working perfect.
All right, so no worries. So what we've got here is I'm hill that's 73 meters high near the ocean, looking back towards the hills, and we're looking at 114 meters on a mini hill, and then you've got the Perth Hills in the background. The Perth Hills in the background are only 250 meters. There's mountains behind that, but we're just looking at this little mountain here that's 250 meters. A globe, if I just find this one. Can you see the curve screen?
Yeah, we've got a bit of Walter Bislin going on.
Yeah, a bit of Walter. So in order for it to be a globe, it needs to be at least 300 meters high. And in reality, it's about there. So we're looking about 380 meters to be a globe. But if you go back to the video there, that mountain is just above the 100 there, and that's about a 250 max mountain. So there's about 130 meters missing there that should be there. So sorry, to clarify that mountain should be 130 meters higher in order for it to be a globe. So these, so let me just play the video. So when you zoom in, you can see there's actually, it's hard to see, but there's actually two mountain ranges. There's one in front and there's one behind. It's not just one mountain ranges. And so this mountain range needs to be about another 130 meters high in order for it to be of observation. So these types of observations are really good because it's not, you don't get much miraging, you just get a bit of heat haze, and you don't have to wait for the wind or the ocean to give you a good conditioned day. You can basically get this type of observation any single day. You've just got to get an object in between you and the mountain, and generally we can get this type of observation. So I don't know what how Miles Davis did his, but every time I go and do these, then it flatness.
That's one of the key questions that I'd like to know. We need to refer to him as Miles the Liar Davis, because Miles Davis is a saxophone player, and we don't want people to be confused, because YouTube they've got an active policy against confusing media, you know, like borderline conspiracy topics. And if we mislead the audience with a saxophone player instead of some bloke from North England, then people are going to get misled. So we need to contrast him. It's Miles the Liar Davis.
Yeah, I've stopped sharing now.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to convince him in that regards, Anthony, because I get the general impression after watching quite a few of Flat Earth Perth's videos that he's not into the vitriol, he's not into people being nasty, he doesn't want to be horrible to the ballers.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm similar to Bob on Globebusters times, where the best thing to do and it's different to you guys, shout out to you guys for handling all of the crap that you guys get. That I just cut them off straight away. So the first time they holler abuse, they just get muted straight away, and then their friends will come on and say, you know, and so I just mute them as well. I don't even engage in it. The comment section of my videos works really well. It's a good place to do just good normal adult conversations about the debate. Any form of abuse, I just cut them off straight away.
Yeah, it becomes philosophical at this point, so I'll only say one sentence, but it's not okay for baltards to preach their nonsense based on faulty evidence. I'm not going to go any further than that, but that applies to conspiracy cats and all the other people too. So I see what you're saying. There isn't any need for what you've described as vitriol, but there is a need for criticism. And people don't accept criticism on the ball side at all. We get called liars and delusional and science deniers and all that. And the reality is there is no science for a sphere. It's nonsense. But they all think there is. So by consensus, we all get bullied. But anyway, I'm going to stop ranting.
No, it's fine. It's just nice to know that we have a possibility to move past the vitriol. So same with a few other minor issues in Flat Earth at the moment. I mean, Stinky Cash made a video about the Flat Earth Clock app that's come out from Dearth, or Dearth designed it or whatever, and essentially saying, this was my idea, I came up with this first, there's no way I'd have ever actually brought it through to fruition, and good job that you have, but this is my idea, at least give me some credit. And it's like, okay, well, fair enough, we now know that it was your idea first. I'd forgotten. I had actually watched his video when he showed the Back to the Future clock and then subsequently integrated into his logo and did various other things, and you think, yeah, but I've forgotten about him because he hasn't made any material, which is unfortunate in YouTube terms. But Stinky Cash, if you're out there, you're a good YouTuber. I'd just forgotten all about you. So Dave Weiss may be the same. He maybe forgotten where he got the information from. I'm sure he will credit you in the future. But ultimately speaking, the kind of I was first mentality in this, well, first in what? Nothing's changed, right? The Earth was always flat. We were just told otherwise by liars.
Shout out to Sam I Am and Rune Thorsten.
Yeah, I think I find with the Globers is that they have a really poor understanding of what a flat plane would possibly look like. There's a site called Ask a Mathematician, and that site's a really good objective site. There's no in there. And someone asked the question, what would the horizon look like on a flat plane? And they answered it honestly, which is the same as if it was a globe or a flat Earth, because we essentially look at things from flatness, even when, because of how big the Earth is. So the correct answer is that the horizon would look the same whether it's on a globe or a flat plane. And I find that just has a complete denial about what should be happening on a flat plane, and the sun is, the big one with that.
But I disagree. I think if we actually lived on a ball of the size that they give us and tell us, it would be noticeably apparent that we lived on a smegging sphere. It would be falling away from us in all directions, and you would be able to discern a small amount, with P900s and all the rest of it, from the ground, and it would get noticeably worse as you went higher, obviously from the moment you started to ascend. We don't see any of these effects, so when people, I know what you're saying, people try and say, well, how should a flat plane look? Well, it hasn't changed, it was always flat, it looks like it looks. It is a flat plane, and that's how it looks, just look out your window. But if it was to be, as they suggest, a sphere, then it should be sphere-like, it should fall away from us at some point. It never does. The horizon rises with eye level, we don't have a leading edge of the sphere, the horizon isn't the edge of a sphere. But it should definitely fall away as we rise. It doesn't.
Yeah, I totally agree all the time, where if we were on a globe, things would look completely different to what they look now. There would be some sort of evidence over things. It would start to look more like Google Earth. When you look at Google Earth, you can sort of tell where the curvature is, but all we ever see is complete flatness everywhere we look. So yeah, I agree. I think it would look completely different.
Well, that's true to an extent with Google Earth, because, and I'm sure Anthony will back me on this, it goes through a transition. So if you go up high, really high, you can even see the curve of the Earth from cruising altitude on a commercial airline, represented in Google Earth, of course. But as you drop down, as you descend towards the ground, there's a transition, and you'll look for this now as you go back into Google Earth, where it goes from their mapped out world of sphere Earth, with it re-rendering the globe as you move around it, to basically a plane of view when you get in close.
That's where the satellites are from, though, isn't it?
Regardless of the origins, it's represented as a plane when you're in close-up view on Google Earth.
Well, yeah.
But there is a transition between the two. It's got more and more subtle as time went on, but when we were doing, you can see it more obviously on some of the old debates about a year ago. There's a very clear step change between the two. When you transition now, it's a lot more subtle.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I think about, is a bit like what Jaren says about having the camera on the moon. Imagine if did have cameras in it that we could actually zoom into the Earth on. Imagine the epic type of video that we possibly could see. Zoom into different cities and actually see the angles of the buildings changing. You could create some really, really epic videos if everything was. But all we ever get from the ISS live feed is really, really, really boring footage. So if it was real, I just think it'd be a lot more epic.
Actually, we're going to have to update the current position, Nathan. I'm just looking on Google Earth Pro, and when you zoom in now, it's all computerized all the way down to the street level. And it's only when you get into street level does it become photographic. All the way down, it's completely it's like computerized. So it's not true to say that anymore. They've got rid of that transition layer. It's gone now. It's totally computerized, the elevation.
That doesn't mean it doesn't transition.
No, it does. It does. There's no transition anymore.
No, I can assure you it will still transition to a plane of view. It's not going to just not transition anymore. It's just more subtle. The fundamentals of how Google Earth works hasn't changed. So,
yes.
Well, okay, I'll have another look at it in case it's changed in the last week, but I don't think so. It will still be giving you a plane of view when you're close up. It's just the transition itself is just much more subtle. Anyway, I'm going to do, while you're queuing that up, I'm just going to do some more shout outs as you shouted out. I'm glad you're keeping an eye on it. So shout out to Sam I Am for donating to the GoFundMe campaign for the 30 times optical zoom drone camera, and also a massive shout out to Rune Thornton for the same. So thank you very much for donating to that campaign. 208 of $1,000. So far, so good. Hopefully we'll get some more updates.
That's fantastic. Thanks to those guys. Our Red Pills donated $30. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm hoping at the very least we can get up to $300 before the end of this live stream. So, yeah, if you're going to donate, if you're considering it, do it while the live stream's on so we can shout you out.
Yeah, let's have a goal of $300.
Absolutely. That was already firmly in my mind, if I'm honest. I was hoping to get $300 before the end of this live stream, because it will obviously continue, and these get rebroadcast on the other channels, so hopefully people will still contribute after the show finishes. But it's nice to set a goal and achieve it during the show. If we don't, it's no bad deal, but oh well. So yeah, we've got you up, Anthony. We're in Street View.
So Street View, I mean actual real world Street View, but when you exit Street View, it immediately becomes computerized. That's
no,
not
you were
real
right.
footage.
I saw the transition. You were right. No, but hang on. These are photographs.
They're not. None of these are photographs. Look, if I move in, the 3-dimensional models, but you can't tell the difference between a photograph anymore.
No, that's not a photo.
That's not a photo. No, it's a 3-dimensional layer. Like it's a terrain map, if you will. These trees are not photo. They're 3-dimensional because they parallax. You can see the parallax.
Oh yeah.
But this is on Pro,
I did see the transition though. It was immediate though. So it does have the transition, but it's now from real life photography straight into 3D CGI. Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
You have to go really low, and that's when that's the transition now. It used to be 3 or 4 clicks above the roof tiles, and now it's there. It's literally the minute you come out of Street View, that's where it transitions now.
Wow. So you only get the real life pictures from Street View now. That's amazing.
But this is on Pro. I don't know if it's the same on normal Google Earth.
Who knows?
Yeah, I've just got Google Earth, and it's the same. It's the same. I noticed that the other day.
Fortunately, we did capture it, you know, so in some ways it's really good that we did those debates and had plenty of how Google Earth worked captured, so you can see it. You know, and we discuss it. You know, we discuss, well, there's the transition. I can't remember which show. I'm sorry, I can't direct the audience to which particular debate we did this, but we did definitely highlight the example of where it transitions and how it transitions and what it's doing and how it's doing it. But now it's not. There we go. I often think that some of the things we do have a direct consequence. Maybe it's conspiratorial, but, you know, who else is doing videos about Google Earth, right? Not presumably that very many people. Yes, lots of people utilise it.
Do you not remember when me and Ranty were doing the initial Isle of Man observations and they literally changed it on the Saturday night? Yeah.
You were talking about it one day, the next day you came back, and the way you view it from the beach at some bees in Google Earth had completely altered and matched your picture.
Yeah, you couldn't see it on Google Earth on the beach, and then one day we went back to it to see what we could like zoom in and zoom out of and whatnot, and all of a sudden it was on the beach. You could see it from the beach, and we were like, hang on a minute, that's not been like that before. Have they changed that? And they'd literally updated it so that if you now go back to that place, you now see what you see real world, and they've just morphed it into this ball. It's crazy.
Does Ranty have his P900 or just normal or P1000?
Does Ranty have a P1000?
No, does he have an infrared version?
No, he's planning on doing it as far as I'm aware, but I'm not sure if I don't think he's done it yet.
Yeah, because your Isle of Man observation is very similar to my Cape Nat. And if you look at that video, as soon as you put on the infrared filter, it goes from you can't even see Cape Naturalis to all of a sudden really clear. So I always, whenever I look at your Isle of Man footage, I always think to myself, if that was done in an infrared, you'd actually see a whole lot more of that land.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to do a brief reminder because there's obviously going to be new people who've joined this show. So our guest today is Flat Earth Perth, and he yesterday started up a fundraiser, a GoFundMe fundraiser, for a 30 times optical zoom camera to be mounted to the bottom of a drone. Obviously a very expensive piece of equipment, and he's encouraging the community, and as a byproduct, things like this, i.e. this show, promoting it and getting the word out that this piece of equipment will be used once it's bought and potentially used by others. So Flat Earth Perth has essentially pointed out that once he's done what he's doing with it, he will have people in a position where they can contact him via email and say, I would like to do an observation of X, can you send it to me? And he'll even play the postage on it. So once this camera's been bought, we'll see some glorious footage, which I hope we'll get to see on this show as well. Not entirely unselfish, my motivations, I'm not going to lie, but, you know, it's a compliment to Flat Earth Perth and his work so far. So I'll also stick a link to Flat Earth Perth's channel in a moment so that you can actually go and check out his channel and his work. But I have stuck the link, and I'll do it again now, to the GoFundMe campaign. So we've got a target of about $300. Hopefully between now and the end of this live broadcast, we'll get up to that target if a few people in the audience see the benefit of having a zoom camera mounted to a drone in their possession of a flat earther, or potentially many flat earthers going forward into the future. So there's the campaign link. Check it out. Hopefully go and at the very least go and subscribe to his channel, but if you can, bung him a few bucks so we can contribute and get that camera bought and get the glorious footage of the flat earth that we all dwell atop out on YouTube. That would be fantastic. So go and subscribe and donate now. I'll go and get a link to his video, hopefully while somebody else does a bit of filler.
I've just realised. Sorry, I've just realised we need to retract Rune Thorsten's shout out, because in the comments bit underneath he says no shout outs please. So a retracted shout out to Rune Thorsten. Sorry, I couldn't help.
The other thing about that drone camera is that it can be attached to any mobile. So if someone's already got a drone, this camera is lightweight. It's only 600 grams. I'm not a huge expert on drones, but I think that's... And it's got a universal mounting system, so it can mount to anyone's drone that's got a half-decent drone, so they don't need to go and buy a new drone. They can just attach drone, get the footage they want, and then pass it on to the next researcher.
I've got the camera on screen now. It's on the little video clip that you attached to your GoFundMe campaign. So if you own this footage, don't copyright strike me. You'll hopefully get a customer out of it. But there we go. So just so you can see exactly what it is and what it does, and I'll just rewind a bit so you can see the kind of footage that it produces. So I'll make this full screen just so it can give you an idea of what it's going to be used for and what it does.
Yeah, the start of the video, the features of the camera, and then as you fast forward through, it'll actually give you some examples of how well it can zoom into objects.
Spin on a little bit and see if we can... More footage, there we go. Yeah, so as this is playing out, hopefully there's a few people heading over to the GoFundMe campaign.
I can't see that footage, by the way, Nathan.
It's okay, it's just for the audience at the moment. As I'm flicking between pages to get your share link for your YouTube channel, I'm just playing some of the videos that are up there so people can see what we're actually talking about. Just refresh this, see if we've got... Nope, nothing yet. Come on, people, what's wrong with you? So Rune Thornton didn't want to shout out, apparently. Some argy-bargy in the chat going on about that.
Sorry, I didn't see the message until afterwards.
It's all good, man. Pretty funny.
Yeah, the other 30 zoom camera you can get for a drone is called a Walkera Voyager 5, and that does 30 zoom camera. That's $30,000, $18,000. There we go. So it's $18,000 US for a Walkera Voyager 5 and 30 as well. So that's what I was saying before. The $1,700 is really good value compared to, you know, 18 grand for the Voyager 5.
Just to stress, this is just the camera, so not the drone.
Yeah, that's... I've got to go and buy the drone as well, and so I'll keep my drone. So if I go and buy a drone, I'll keep the drone, and then it can be sent all around the world.
I mean, drones are stupidly cheap, if you ask me. I mean, about 10 years ago, I did a piece with the Gadget Show, and they had one of the very first drones, and it admittedly was actually flying indoors. The building that we filmed in was just massive, and they could. But it was, I can't remember the exact price, but it was something like £25,000-30,000 for a drone, and it produced 420p rubbish footage, fuzzy, blocky, not that stable. You move on 10 years and you can pick up a drone that will produce exceptional footage for less than $1,000. You just go, oh, that's incredible. And then when you look at stuff like this, like you say, a camera with 30 times zoom, $1,700, you go, well, the fact that it's so light it can be flown up into the air is pretty astonishing value for money, especially when you compare it to something that's...
It is pretty good technology, and you know you can get a really good multi-rotor drone now for less than $500 even, and they're just the same price all the time. So the drone is not the expensive part. The expensive part is definitely the camera.
Oh, okay. I suppose that makes sense. It's the bit that's actually getting you the usable, you know, the production bit, the production end, the business end is actually the camera. You know, flying it is great, but other than it being a toy, what use is that unless you can produce some footage from it?
Yeah, and that company that produces the 30 also produces, there's a link to their website on the GoFundMe page. They also produce an infrared FLIR camera, which is a camera that police helicopters use to identify, you know, when the suspects are running away, and they have an infrared thermal camera on. They have that camera for about $3,000. So in the future, I was thinking about possibly getting that one as well. That would probably get some pretty amazing footage.
Good stuff. I have actually shared the link, so if people do want to join us on the show, they're more than welcome to do so.
Did you guys watch the Dr. John Dee's latest video?
Yeah, his sort of summary of what to take out of the observation. That one.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
What did you think of it?
Well, I've been emailing John for the last 3 weeks. So him and I have done a really long email chain, and I've given him everything I know about how to make sure the observation. Yes. And 2 weeks ago, I emailed him and I said, about a week ago, I emailed him and I said, I've checked the weather report and you've got too much wind. And it's all about the up, it'll whip up the water. And that's what creates the miraging effects. And unfortunately, it's not just the temperature, it's the wind. The wind does every time there's a lot of wind, I get bad footage. If the wind is calm, I get good footage. And I said to him, that's probably going to be the problem that you have. And unfortunately, that was going on just ruled out, and so hopefully in a couple of weeks he'll be able to do a better one.
Yeah, there's no guarantees, and you've ultimately got to get out there and actually do it. You've got to, you know, you fail 100% of the time, you don't actually go out and do it. So there was a greater chance of success for him actually going out and trying, regardless of the anticipated weather, because, like, you know, weather's massively variable, and there's a chance that he could have had a moment where it all died down. Unfortunately, he didn't, but that's just the way of things. You know, you're not going to always get the best result the first time you go out and try it. You can. Some people get really lucky. Not often.
I've just put a link in the chat, Nathan, and it's that I sent over to John for, this is my suggestion for how we should do it next time. Are you able to show that diagram?
On screen now. So
yeah, so it's basically a version of my 3 sticks model. The good thing about the 3 sticks is that it's the first time I've had globers agree with that method. So most globers, when they look at the 3 sticks method, will agree method to use. When you use, I think John is just trying to use a spirit level to get the laser level. And the possibility for error in that is really huge. So one way we can do it is do 3 sticks, 10 meters, 20 meters, and 30 meters, and just bang them in on the water's like, or if it's sandy there, or what sort of water is around Brighton. But the 3 sticks with a little 60mm tube and have the laser 30mm tube will just guarantee that that laser level is parallel to the surface. If you just rely on the auto level or the spirit level, whatever, the amount of error, and a lot of people don't realize this, the amount of error that any optical instrument has is actually greater than the amount expecting. And that's something that really surprised me when I was going through all my auto level stuff, is that we really don't have precision enough equipment to guarantee is parallel to the surface.
Right, but this gives you an absolute fixed lock on parallel once it's set up correctly.
Yeah, it's like the 3 beer bottle test that I had on my channel a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago. When you imagine the sticks are at 10, whether you are a flat earther and you're going to say, oh, the auto level has to point down a tiny bit because of perspective, or whether you're a glober that thinks it's exactly 90-degree tangent, that whole argument disappears if you use the 3 sticks, because everyone can just visually see that that laser is lining up with. And if you're lining up with 3 sticks, then you are parallel to the ground and no one can argue against it. So it works good for both sides.
I think you'll find that when they agree to it initially, they change their position at the end of it if the results don't support them. Because what they'll say is they'll have a scapegoat, and it'll be, just for example's sake, say Slice Arcane agrees with you. When you do the results and it doesn't come back to the results that they expect, then they say, oh, well, Slice Arcane was wrong. And it's called moving the globe posts. And they do it all the time. Whatever you do isn't good enough for some reason. And then on the basis of it not being good enough for that, for whatever reason they decide, they then dismiss it, the whole thing, because they say it's not reliable enough. Called moving the globe posts.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that in the comments section constantly. I deal with that 20 or 30 times a day in my comment section. They start to agree with you, then as soon as it starts showing a certain type of observation, they'll definitely move away from that. But a similar one to that is observation that he's got going. I was a bit disappointed. Slice Arcane.
Yeah, I was plugging that the other day. I think it's a really good idea. How he does it.
Yeah, and I was a bit disappointed that if you look on my comments on his, been fully supportive of him, and I've said this is great. I fully support any glober doing observations, because as we know, they don't do any. So it's all the flat earthers doing. Great that they do observations, and I donated $25 to Sly. And I asked for other flat earthers to donate, and not one glober had to my fundraiser, and I've asked probably 50 of them. I've sent 50 of them a message saying, hey, why don't you donate? Why don't you donate? All the globers who come on my channel and debate with me, not one of them have actually donated. So it'd be really good to see at least one glober donate to my fundraiser after I donated.
I'm sure there'll be one watching this stream that will break the mould. Just while I've got you, sorry, Anthony. What was the name of the beer bottle video? I've got your channel up now. I just want to find that video.
Just give me 20 seconds. I'll go look for it and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
In the meantime, I actively encouraged and supported Sly as well. But I did say flat earthers shouldn't contribute, because it's always flat earthers that are contributing for GoFundMes. I know there is the oddball earther that does it, but generally they all go, nah. So it's like, well, on this occasion, it should be the ballers that try and prove their claim to be a bendy land or a bendy terrain. And we know what won't happen. But it doesn't mean that I'm against Sly in any way. I'm not. I fully support it, and I agree with what he's trying to do. And I wish him the best of success in doing it. I look forward to be able to challenge and critiquing how he does his method, because I'll say, oh, he should have done it that way, Sly, just to belittle him, because that's what, like Perth says, that's what happens to us all the time. And it'll be nice to have it a different way around this time. It'd be nice for us not to be on the receiving end of the scorn and ridicule, and it'd be nice to be giving it out a little bit. But yeah, I think me personally, I think that the flat earthers shouldn't contribute to Slides, because it should be the ballers that have got the burden to prove.
That video's in the link in the comment. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Nathan. I know what you're saying, Anthony. And I had GeoStreamer the other day come on my channel and try and entice me into one of his. And so I said, I tell you what, why don't you donate to the GoFundMe, and then I'll think about it. And that's the last time I saw him.
Well, just be aware that when GeoStreamer has a one-to-one hangout, he was caught red-handed with Soundly in the background, feeding him information. Now, we knew that they were doing it. We've never had any overt proof, express proof that they were actually doing it, but we knew that they were doing it. And it's not the biggest deal in the world. but when he was caught doing it, he wouldn't admit it. And Sean Hufford even started, he started defending the position by trying to do this some kind of music analysis that he claims that he's like some kind of enthusiast, therefore he's better than anybody else expert. And when we got an actual music guy to do the actual, to find out the answer, he did something called a spectrum frequency analysis, which is basically they look at what frequencies came through, and they could tell which microphone was open and which microphone was shut at the time. And it's black and white. You can see it clear as day which microphone recorded the noise, and it wasn't mine. But they said that I was listening to Soundly in the background. And literally, if that was the case, it just so happened to coincide with what you could tell was a back and forth conversation. It wasn't a one-off conversation. It was like a random comment that sneaked through the microphone. It was a conversation, a proper conversation. And obviously, I got called a liar, and I got called this, that, and the other. And Sean managed to weasel his way out of it. However, Sean doesn't like troll my account anymore in his real name. He probably does it in a sock account, but it's kept him away from my channel, and that's good enough for me.
It was quite a comical chain of events, wasn't it?
Yep, certainly was.
Do you want to play that video, Nath?
Travis, are you still there?
Yeah, sorry, I've got it up and playing now, so I didn't realise I was on mute because my the page that's actually got my yeah. Anyway, it's on screen now.
I'm here.
I was just going to invite Travis into the conversation if he wanted to chip in with questions, because he hasn't spoke yet, and he was getting shouted at by Nathan yesterday. I don't know if Nathan realizes, but Travis was just trying to say, "I'm jumping on a plane. I'll catch you guys later," and you're saying, "Shut up!"
Oh, sorry, Travis.
I didn't take it personal at all. I was laughing.
Sorry, Travis.
It's okay.
It's all good.
So yeah, can you talk us through? I don't want to steal your thunder by making your example for you, but we've got it up on screen now.
Yeah, you got the video on screen now. Yes. The interesting thing about any sort of auto level observation is that the Globers will say that the auto app or whatever it is out of calibration. And if you read the comments section in there, they'll say, "Oh, your diopter app is simply not calibrated." Well, it doesn't matter. Right. It really doesn't matter. So if you use 3 cans or 3 beer bottles or 3 sticks method, then it doesn't matter if the instrument is out of calibration. I don't think it's out of calibration. I think there's a slight angle down due to perspective. But it doesn't matter whether I'm wrong. By always ensuring that you use the 3 sticks, it satisfies, well, it will satisfy at the start both sides of the debate.
Yeah, because I agree. It doesn't matter if you're out of calibration, because what you're doing is you're doing it relative to your position, and it's measuring the differential between your position and the angle that you're looking at. So it's not about calibration, but what does matter is that you're level, right?
Yeah, And I've currently got I took that with a different phone, and I've now got a different phone now. Now I've got an iPhone, brand new iPhone, and the diopter app on rubbish. Absolute rubbish. It is not even close to being calibrated correctly. I find the Android versions of it are much more accurate. I laugh now every time I see someone using an iPhone and their diopter app and they're trying to prove something.
Hello.
You can't trust it. You've got to use the 3.6.
Hey, Unorthodox, how you doing?
Hey, I just wanted to point something out. Like, that angle right there isn't increasing; it's constant. It's a constant angle. So you got a pretty big hole in understanding right there.
Is it as big as your hole in your understanding in terms of? Can't remember what it was yesterday.
Hold on.
Well, this is the good thing about using the 3 sticks. So you'll have Globers come on and argue about things like this. So is it the constant? It doesn't matter. So whatever you're going to come wrong with that diagram, I bet you will agree that the 3 sticks is going to geometrically give you a parallel line to the surface of the Earth if we're on a flat plane.
Yeah, if we're on a flat plane. There's a good video by Sly or somebody who does this and shows that it's actually not.
So is that another baseless assertion?
No, it's a video. I'm talking about a video.
A good video by Sly or someone?
Yes, I can pull it up if you want me to.
Sure.
You want to make your point?
Before you do that, can I just say something?
Go ahead.
When you're going to critique a particular, why do you have a need to ad hom at the same time? Why can't you just critique the video, but not go? I find that probably 99% of you said I've got a complete lack of understanding.
I said you have a hole in your understanding there. That's not an ad hom. That's just a factual statement.
Yeah, I'd agree.
What I'm saying,
that wasn't ad hom, that one.
Yeah, I know, but it'll go the next comment. What I'm saying is there's no need for it. There's absolutely no need for it. So all you need to do is discuss it and move on.
Well, my position is that you're wrong about this stuff. So I'm just trying to show to the audience that you have a lack of understanding about what you're talking about. That angle did not change whatsoever. That was a constant angle.
So you said I have a lack of understanding about what I'm talking about. How many observations have you done involving lining up 3 objects and away objects over water?
I haven't personally done that.
So exactly my point. So you haven't personally done that, but you're going to come. I have a lack of understanding. That's that. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I mean, that's all I'm pointing out. I do not agree that that was a mistake.
All right. So what angle it creates is based on your auto level, based on your optical instrument, and the optical instruments are all different. The calibrations are never the same. So what my point is, if you watch that video and others, is simply that you can't trust the optical instrument. So you'll have levels, diopter apps, theodolites, and saying, I'm going to say that it's curved or not curved based on my optical instrument. What I'm trying to say, don't trust the optical instrument. Use 3 sticks and observe things over those 3 sticks. That's the point.
Let me ask you this: Do you believe that GPS works?
There's nothing to do with the subject at hand, is it?
Well, he's talking about removing. Yeah, what she's talking about removing like your eyes from the situation.
No.
So that's
no. He's talking about using 3 sticks so they all line up so you know it's level, rather than relying on a single point from a diopter app.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I was kind of elaborating on this point that you should use something other than your eyes. That's where I was going.
What, GPS?
So
Yeah, GPS.
So what I try and do on my channel is I come to agreements and I figure out where is it that we actually agree on. So that's the style that I use. And so that's the point of the 3 sticks. It's the point we agree on, and then that's the baseline, and then we can go from there. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay, I may be misunderstanding too exactly what you're trying to point out here, but I just noticed that was a pretty big glaring error. I'd also like to say, you said that, on a flat plane and on a globe, the horizon should be the same. From what I've seen modeled, that's not true at all. On a flat plane, as you go up, the horizon should keep expanding. It should keep being at the same level because there's always more Earth in front of you. On a globe, it falls off.
You can't see forever. You do realize that you can't see forever, right?
Okay, but before we go on to a slightly different subject, I'm just going to read out what it says. Best method from experience to ensure laser is parallel to surface. At 30 meters, Earth curvature is minimal. From my many observations, I've noted that a spirit level / auto level / theodolite diopter app, when set at 90 degrees tangent to the Earth, will always point above the target. When you align the crosshairs or the laser with 3 sticks, it always produces a parallel line to the Earth. Do not trust any type of level. Use the 3-stick method. Simple, and both sides... Yeah, you've got the point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any problem with that. I mean, if you live on a sphere, though, and you put it down, like, say, in the salt flats, there's going to be some level of precision error. If we are on a sphere and you point 3 sticks, you know, they're going to be around a curve.
That's why we limit it at 30 meters. So that's why we only go to 30 meters. So if you work out the drop at 30 meters, it's a very, very, very small. That's why I don't go past 30 meters, so that we can both agree then that there's really not much curvature, not much drop in that small distance.
Okay, I agree. It's probably sufficient for most things you're trying to do.
Excellent. Glad we've got your seal of approval, man who's never done this.
No problem.
But yeah, that angle down thing is something that about 4 years now. I have trouble explaining it to Globers. Globers just flat out won't want to listen to it. I don't it, but for some reason there is an angle down that causes an error in the auto instruments.
Can I share the video that's on this subject? It's going to show exactly how parallel lines converge. I think that would be pretty interesting.
About 2 minutes if you want to share it. I'll do one last plug. So in the moment, I'll stick the link to the GoFundMe campaign, which we've been talking about this entire show, which is to buy a 30x optical zoom camera for a drone. So I'll stick the link in that, and in the meantime, you can enjoy the dulcet tones of Unorthodox. And I'm going to say hello to Chocolate Saiyan and Paul as well. How are you both doing?
Oh no!
Oh no!
Good morning. I am doing great.
Hey.
You have to click on my my icon to see this if you're in the chat. I don't know if you are presenting my screen. Let me click on this here.
Yeah, ready when you are.
Okay.
You're on?
This is it. Can you see this?
Yeah, we see.
So on a flat plane, they should be converging. The horizon should be converging where the lines are.
I see the video.
But
If you
what's your
put the
point,
link to the video in the chat, I'll look at it separately.
Sure, but what's your point? That the horizon is slightly below?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, over the next couple of days, Unorthodox, although it's lengthy, I'm going to put out quite an extensive amount of material that was originally broadcast on Ranty Flat Earth's channel with a YouTuber called Life is Short, which is life is, all one word, space short. And it explains the very complex nature of what forms the diffraction limit, otherwise known as the horizon. So I'll put that out. I'm going to put it out in 4 or 5 chunks. I think it's probably 4 or 5 hours long. Quite a lot of information to take in. It goes through it in great detail. But yes, horizon drop is a thing. It does happen.
Yeah, but the question isn't the question why it happens. So what I was going to say to Unorthodox, and I invite everybody to do it as well, is go to my last few videos where I was in California shooting ocean footage. You're going to see a disparity between the horizon and the object that you're looking at. The horizon is not concrete. It is apparent. There's plenty of footage, even Ranty, even though Nathan mentioned Ranty, and you should check out Ranty too, obviously, but the stuff that I've got is very, very similar.
You got a link?
Will see.
We'll stick it up now. Travis, I'll promote you to the hilt, my friend.
I'm on the phone, though, Nathan. I'm sorry.
Oh, bummer. Well, okay, well, what I'm going to do, Travis, unfortunately for you in this case, well, not unfortunately, because it'll stay on the after show, but I'm going to round out for the live audience and say
I can jump on the computer.
If you want to, yeah. I mean, I'll get it into the after show, because all I'm going to do now is say goodbye to the live audience. So if you can cue that up while I'm doing exactly that, I will say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this live debate. And, of course, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. If you're watching this on either the Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley not live stream, premiere streams, then stay tuned, as you will be privy to the after show. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
I mean, he's spitting out misconceptions. I mean, it's well known that
Right,
the
so
horizon
conspiracy
on a
cats,
flat
so
plane
listen,
should
so conspiracy cats, everybody's spitting out misconceptions, and it's especially on your side, so you can pipe down about your criticisms.
Hello. How do I sound?
Hello, Travis.
That's okay. Let's hear your first one then.
Well, I'm just talking about the fact that you said that on a flat plane, the horizon shouldn't always be in the same position. That's not true. On a flat plane, if we live on a flat plane, the horizon should always be at the same level.
No, that's
No, it
not
shouldn't,
true.
you dickhead. That's not true.
That's not true, or unorthodox.
Wait,
Because-
unorthodox. You think the horizon should be at the same level at ground level than it is at 35,000 feet, 40,000 feet?
Yes, I
Yeah,
mean,
can
if
you
we're on a
cut-
flat plane, there's always more Earth to look at, right? There's
Yes,
always
but-
going to be more Earth there.
Right.
What do you mean, right?
But it
If
still-
you
it
think
still
you live on a
rises up to
sphere,
your eye
then
level,
no. Hold on, sorry, Chocolate. Not at all. If
Yeah,
you think
yeah.
you live on a sphere, it should drop away from you. If that's the leading edge of a sphere.
Exactly. It should drop away from you on a
But it
sphere. On a
doesn't.
flat plane, it shouldn't.
But it doesn't.
And it doesn't, idiot. You kidding,
It doesn't.
bro?
It'll stay in the same place as you rise.
Can I address this one?
Sure.
So the horizon, this is the correct statement, okay? The horizon appears to rise to eye level. It won't quite get there due to observer height and how far out across the plane we can see due to the atmosphere. That's the correct horizon. Out of that statement, what would you disagree with?
Oh, you have to forgive me. You broke up just a little bit. Would you repeat that? I'm sorry.
All right. So the correct statement is the horizon appears to rise to eye level,
Should appear.
but it never quite gets there due to observer height and how far across the plane we can see due to the atmosphere limiting our view on a flat plane. That determine what the horizon would do on a flat plane. What would you disagree with that?
I mean,
Alexander,
that sounds perfectly fine, but I mean, the long distance photography record is like 120 miles.
Yeah, in perfectly clear conditions. So Ranty's got pictures of a guy, and because he's nice and low, the apparent, not curvature of the Earth, not leading edge, the apparent horizon is below where this runner is running. So he looks like he's flying, but the conditions are such that he appears to be in the sky. Well, he's not. He's just further back on the land that is still underneath his feet. So the apparent position of where the ground meets the sky, you've got loads of things to take into consideration. How far you can see, primarily.
Yeah, have you
Yeah, but
guys
there's
noticed?
zero examples of what I'm talking about. There's no example of these parallel lines converging.
that's
And
because you're thinking
There's not a
concrete.
single
Why do
example of
you
it.
think the parallel line should converge, you moron?
Because he thinks that a 10-foot wall is always a 10-foot wall, no matter what the distance is.
That has nothing to do with this.
Yes,
It
it
does.
is.
Did you watch
It's
the video?
analogous. It's analogous.
Hold on,
Listen,
hold
real
on.
quick.
Let him make his example again. Don't gang up on him. Just make your example
Okay.
again, verbally.
Where the parallel lines converge, actually where you see land instead of seeing air. There's no
Can-
examples of the
can
parallel
someone
lines
put a-
converging at land. Not a single example of it.
Can someone put a video in the chat for me? Because I haven't actually seen that video yet.
But what you're calling land,
When I just played
unorthodox, is the horizon. The apparent position where the ground meets the sky you're claiming is land, aren't you?
No, I'm saying there's no examples of it being actually matching up with a flat plane. There should,
There
like,
is-
if on a clear day, you should be able to take a picture, and all the parallel lines converge.
No, that's
where the land
assuming
is.
there's no atmosphere and no limitations on view and bionic eyes. Why would you make such silly assertions?
I'm saying there's no example of it not even happening one time.
That's
No,
because
You've got your basis, the foundation for your assertion is wrong.
What, that you should see that on a flat plane?
Yeah, that you shouldn't see that because you can't see indefinitely. There is an atmosphere that does block what we see, and the fluid in the atmosphere, the air in the atmosphere, isn't completely like waterless. It's like looking at the other end of a swimming pool. You can't see indefinitely in the atmosphere.
So wait, let me ask you this. So what if you're on top of a skyscraper and you can see 30 miles or 40 miles, and then you go down and you can only see 10? Doesn't that show you that it's not limitation due to how far you can see?
no.
Angle.
The fact that
Limitation
you
of the
even asked
angle
that
of view.
question shows that you don't understand what you're talking about.
That actually
agree.
proves
this is
exactly
the
what the
type-
hell you're trying to ask, unorthodox. Are you kidding? You're at the top of a you're at the top of a building and you look across and you can see 30 miles. Then you look down, you can see 10. What does that mean to you?
No, I'm saying if you go to the bottom of the
Okay, so
skyscraper,
you go to
at
the
that
bottom,
point, you can't
and
see
then
as
you-
far.
and what does
But
that
we
mean
know
to
that
you
you're
in
capable
your
of
brain?
seeing
What does
30
that
miles
mean?
in that day. Do what?
Unorthodox. In your brain, I'm sorry if it's noisy over here. I'm at work. In your brain, what does that mean? If you, at the bottom of the skyscraper, you can only see 10 miles, and at the top, you can see 30. What does that
means
mean
that
to
the
you?
argument that he's making isn't true, that it's a limitation due to how far you can see.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the point Chocolate's making, Unorthodox, is that as you lower from the skyscraper, the apparent position that the ground meets the sky is changing how far you can see. Correct?
I'm ready to share my screen when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Unorthodox is shut down in the face of this, it seems, because we'll just make the conclusion, Travis, and then I'll stick you up. So, Unorthodox, as you're lowering, you could lower all the way to a couple of inches above the ground, and your apparent horizon might be 10 meters away. But that doesn't mean that that apparent horizon suddenly becomes the leading edge of a sphere. It's just the apparent position that the ground meets the sky, determined by several factors. One being angle, two being how clear the day is.
So
In
I've
that
just put a
situation,
picture. I've just
sorry, go ahead.
Chat for the angle as you rise higher. That's your answer for the skyscraper. So as you go higher up in the skyscraper, you see further. It's just the line of sight and the angle.
And the other thing is, as you go higher into the atmosphere, the thickness of the atmosphere, the density of the atmosphere reduces, and that effectively is like removing fog.
Exactly what I was trying to get him to get at. But, you know.
The change in density.
You can take a horse to water.
Well, that's a decent argument, at least.
I know, right?
Got some logical basis. I'll give you that much.
I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you changing in.
I'm glad you said that, Unorthodox. I'm glad you at least said that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to get to, I'm not just BSing here, guys. If you guys have a good argument, I'll give you that you have a good argument.
Travis is getting twitchy because he's now checking the Hangout to see if I'm presenting him, which I am. So, yeah, you're up, Travis, whenever you're ready. You can make your screen full, that'd be brilliant.
You guys can see my screen right now?
Click on Travis locally if you can't see him.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm just going to talk through real quick. Okay, this is ocean here. You got two surfers chatting it up. Okay, so I'm just going to say, pretend that that's land, Unorthodox. Just pretend that it's land for a moment, okay? Because the same atmospheric distortion is going to happen on land, not the same level, of course, but the same atmospheric distortion is going to happen at the apparent horizon. That is, the moisture in the air is going to obscure and distort where the physical end of this body is. Okay, so I can't tell how far away this line is right now. I don't know how far away it is. And you're going to see in a moment above this changing over and over and over again. So does the physical body of water rise up? Does the physical body of water lower? When we watch this, okay, just watch the horizon. Don't pay attention to the guys of the script, okay?
I noticed that the swimmers or the paddlers are actually behind the curve of the Earth.
Okay, now look, just look at the horizon right here. Look, what's this right here? I mean, just watch this line. Watch it. Boom. Look at this. Look at how that changes. That's not even real.
That's where Ranty calls it fake water.
Okay, now look right here.
Yeah, fake
This
waves.
is not
That's what Ranty calls
This is a
that.
boat. All right, look at this boat. Right? Okay.
That's a boat.
I'm not making claims. I'm just observing. Now watch. Here comes this oil rig. Right there. Okay. Here's the top of this oil rig. It looks like to me like a giant locust is crawling up over the horizon. Here he comes. There's his antenna, right? How big do you think this oil rig is? Just unorthodox, just take a guess. Just looking at it, how big do you think it is?
And there's no way I can give you an estimate on.
You think
how
it's
big that
really,
is based
really,
on.
really, I mean, look, think about this. If this is, let's say, a crane, do you think that would be the actual size of that crane?
I mean, it depends on how far away it is and how big it is. It can be
Okay.
closer and smaller, or further away and larger.
Okay. All right. So here is that same oil rig. Let's see where I can't remember what I said in this video. Okay, so this appears to be the top rigging of the oil rig. Again, my elevation is 5 foot above sea level. I'm like on the beach. All right. All of the following images are from the same location over the span of 3 hours on the same day. Okay, so the very first image you saw was probably like 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, look at this. This is the same object. Okay, so here you have now the antenna that we saw, whatever those are, and you've got the full body. Look at all that space right there. Look at that. I didn't get any closer. I didn't get any farther away. I'm zoomed in, sure.
Do you want to phrase it as a question, Travis? Did the Earth curve shrink unorthodox?
Right. I mean, just watch right here. Hold on real quick. Watch right at the base of this rig. Watch the water line. Watch the water line right here. Look at that. It just disappeared. And they got bigger. And there's a little bit more. Now it's gone again. Now, here are some stills. There's some dolphins. Hi, dolphins. The atmosphere it was really hard to focus on this day. I was really frustrated. It was difficult for my camera to resolve.
Manual focus wins.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Okay,
Manual focus.
Here we go. Here we go. Here, these are stills. This is over a 30-minute period. All right. Look at that. Look at that. Same location. Look at this.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting.
Okay.
So in that
And
context, how could you
saying there
expect
is
to see
exactly-
indefinitely?
Because what we
what-
saw in the very first image, or unorthodox, in the very first image, we saw the horizon up here. I mean, just sit there and think about this.
Yeah, I'm
And
I'm
what
just
you're
saying
showing,
on a
what you're
clear
showing there,
day- Sorry,
is
go ahead.
hidden behind that line. What the footage you're showing there with that big line horizon, that's like whatever that is. That's why we see ships in that line. That's not the actual horizon line. That's the wavy line. That's distortion or mirroring, whatever it is. That forms like a mini brick wall, if you like. Ships get further and further back away from that line. That's why we see those ships half hidden behind the horizon.
Now let's see right here. This was 7:48 in the morning. What was the image before it? Same day, half an hour ahead of time. Right? This is 6:59, right before 7 o'clock. And then this is just 40 minutes later, and you get a totally different image because of the atmosphere.
Maybe the curvature is bendy.
But let's put it as a statement to you in Orthodox. Will you concede that the horizon does not represent the leading edge of the land? So when you say that it should converge at the horizon is massively variable and does not denote the leading edge of anything.
My point was just that there should be a clear day. You should be able to get a picture of it. It might be variable, but at some point it will be clear, and you should be able to photograph it.
That standard is the wrong standard, because even on a clear day, what we get told is, oh, well, you must have had loads of refraction.
Yeah, and you have to listen to what Tony said a little bit ago. He said you would have to remove the atmosphere. Unorthodox, you can't do that. You can't control that variable. You can't manipulate that variable. Look at what happened to this same thing. Look at this. Now it's even taller. I mean, the base is stretched. You have no idea where the horizon is right here physically.
Is this near a major city, or is this like in the country, or where's this located? I don't know if you want to dox yourself, but I'm just curious, like if this is next to like a major city.
I'm on the beach in Ventura, California. Ventura, California.
Okay.
Right? I'm not sure what that has to do with anything.
Well, I'm just wondering if like smog was an effect, because it appears pretty dirty.
No, that's the effect of heat.
You have clear shots and you have not so clear shots. Look at this clear shot. There's no smog there.
I mean, I'll give you that it's variable. I'll give you that, but my point is just that there should be a clear enough day that everything matches up.
Who cares if it's variable?
You cannot have a clear enough day.
Frustrated while I'm on mute. The whole reason for me to go on mute was to shill for Flat Earth Perth, so I'm going to do that now while those guys chat away, as they can't hear me. I've muted myself in the Hangout foolishly and then started to interject into conversation they can't hear me on. Anyway, so in the link between in the link underneath this video, there will be a link to Flat Earth Perth's GoFundMe campaign. So click that link. I'll bring it up on screen so you can see where we've got to thus far. Obviously, I was shilling through all of the live show for that campaign, so hopefully we can get Flat Earth Perth somewhere closer to his target to buy a 30 times optical zoom to be mounted on the bottom of a drone. So I'll bring up the images one last time on the Hangout, and hopefully a few people in the Nathan Oakley and Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering audience, if I can get it right, will actually contribute to that campaign. So I'll transition back to the Hangout. You can enjoy the dulcet tones of whoever's in there for a few more moments. I'll show you the GoFundMe campaign. Check out the link that's in the info box below this video.
If I can keep going, because I got some, I mean, this is really interesting stuff. Am I still sharing, Nathan?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now this is the island. This is the Anacapa Island. It's 19 miles away. Okay. So I'm just giving you a picture right here at the base of the lighthouse. It's 220 feet. The lighthouse is 55 feet. Okay. This is what the landmass looks like. All right. 19 miles. Now this picture, I don't know what the distance is from the person who took it. So I can't make a claim. I'm just giving you an image of an idea of what it looks like. Okay. So now here is what you can see with your eye. This was again at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Right here where my cursor is where the lighthouse is. Okay. This is the lighthouse. All right. Now I'm just going to pause right now. I'm 19 miles away. You just saw a picture of the landmass. The landmass in the picture was this entire, half screen. And so then right here at the little top would have been the lighthouse, very small. But here it is right here in the middle, and it's elongated. All right.
When I film Rottnest Island on a really bad day, I get it just completely warps it.
Now watch, when I come back, you're going to see a completely different image of the lighthouse. I'm just kind of panning. I'm just kind of seeing what I can see. 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm panning out. All of this is an island, just like that. Oops. Okay, here we go. There it is. Look at this. Watch this.
Yeah, I get the same thing on Rottnest Island on a bad day. Same type of really poor imagery.
Okay, now just watch again when I go back in a second. It'll be a completely different image. All right, so, oops. So, I mean, if you're looking at it just straight on, right now. If you're looking at it just straight on, you would think that the top of the island is right here because the lighthouse is at the top of the island. Just crazy. I mean, look, same spot. There's the lighthouse. This is the same location, just like an hour later.
This is the problem with Jose and his lighthouse footage as well.
Yeah. No, I don't have a problem with that. It's just, now watch this. Same location. Look at this. And look at this boat underneath the water, sinking. So you can't make those kinds of claims about the horizon, unorthodox. You're looking at a concrete line. You're drawing a line concretely out into the distance. But what you have to realize is when you even if you kept your position the same and went back 2 or 3 hours later, the horizon would change, and that would be Chocolate's question to you. Where'd the horizon go? Did the curve change? You don't have a concrete object.
It's over water. You don't really get these kinds of distortions over land.
Right, but at least the distortion's there and being acknowledged, right?
You absolutely get this distortion over land. Absolutely.
Yeah, the fact that you said that shows that you are either completely ignorant or you're just trying to lie to us, because that's not true.
I haven't seen any footage that's shown like a high distortion.
Have you not watched
Sorry to interrupt, Travis. Sorry to interrupt, Travis.
That's okay.
How much footage have you captured?
Oh, lots, Nathan, lots.
Do you want to show us an example that doesn't show any distortion across a very flat, ground-based, non-water-based surface? Can you show us that? Your examples that depict that, please.
I'd have to dig them out, Nathan.
Okay, cool. I'll wait with bated breath.
Maybe he captured it and then released it again.
Nathan?
In the wild.
Nathan?
A good example is Cody's lab when he tried to film over the salt flats.
Hello.
Yeah, that Cody's lab video was a really, really dishonest video. The way he reports that is ridiculous.
Alexander, I hear you. I hear you.
I hear you too. It's just...
Can I show pictures which show distance?
Yeah, just real quick. I'll wrap up with this one if I'm still sharing.
You are.
Am I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So
Alexander, if you can just wait a couple more minutes.
Yeah. Look how clear this is, right? Where's the lighthouse? You can't even see it. Okay, but you can see more of the land. You just can't tell. You cannot predict. Okay, I'm going to make this claim. You cannot predict what refraction will produce for you. You can't. There's no way for you to know all of the variables. You cannot say, if it's this temperature, blah, 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 atmosphere, I shouldn't see the lighthouse. You can't do it.
I've said to I had no
100% agree.
That's not true at all.
I had a guest that stopped with me for a weekend up at the caravan, and basically I said there's no correlation between good weather and good visibility. You can have good weather and shocking visibility, and you can have average to poor weather but fantastic visibility. Exactly. So just weather alone is not. There's no indications from weather alone of what will happen on the day. You just got to hope that everything's in a certain condition and there's nothing that's extreme. Otherwise, you're not going to see what you're hoping to see.
Sorry, Flat Earth Perth, if you want to, I know you've been trying to get a few words in, then Alexander will move over to your images.
Sorry, say that again.
You were trying to get some words in.
Is the property clerk there?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Oh.
What's going on? Hello?
Somebody ringing their mom.
Travis, I think you need to mute, man.
So it happened after you finished your presentation, Travis. So it's all good. You did so well. I didn't know if you wanted to add something to that, Flat Earth Perth, before I pass the mic over to Alexander.
Good night.
Flat Earth Perth, good to talk to you, man.
If not, it's going to be my opportunity to chill for you. So during that presentation, I did this anyway. But In the link below this video on Nathan Oakley 1980 and Nathan Oakley YouTube channels, you will see a link to the GoFundMe campaign for Flat Earth Perth. So he's trying to raise the money for a drone camera with a 30x optical zoom, which may go out to the community once he is done with it. So he's got a goal of $1,000. He's going to buy the drone. He's going to put the extra $700 towards the camera, which is what he's actually looking to get the funding for, which is this on screen now. So check out the link in the info box below this video and go and chuck a few dollars to the way of this GoFundMe campaign. I've been putting the link, and we did raise a fair few dollars during the show. Sorry about doing this, I'm afraid, Rune Thornton, but you're on the screen, so I can't help it. Rune Thornton chucked in a few dollars, Sam I Am, Red Pill Philosophy and myself, so that's just in the last day, plus a few other people before I even got wind of it, which was an anonymous donor, Karen McKee, Barry George, Colin Cope Daniels and Ryan Q Vincent, who have all contributed to the campaign thus far. So it shouldn't be a massive challenge to get up to $1,000, but hopefully you'll click the link and go to that GoFundMe campaign. Alexander, are you there?
Yeah.
Right.
If I share screen, can you see it? Because I couldn't see the presentation of... who was it? The last presentation, I couldn't see it.
Travis, YouTube channel The Plain Truth. Yeah. So, yeah, you have to click locally. So when you're presenting, same applies to everyone else on the panel. If you want to see Alexander, click on his icon. He's the little figure of 8 currently. It will be screen sharing. Just click on it in your local Hangout page. Ready whenever you are.
How do I do it again?
Move your mouse over the Hangout page. There'll be a little banner that appears on the left-hand side. The top, second from top is screen share, and then click on the second tab that appears, which says something like application window, and then pick the actual thing that you want. Then click share.
Did it?
Yeah, you're on. Just pick the page that you actually want to present, because you've got the Hangout at the moment. You've got me with a teddy bear.
So here I have one of the infamous Soundly pictures.
Yeah, got it up.
And on this one, and on this one, you actually can count the pylons. From another picture, I derived that this one is the 15th one, and between the 15th and the 16th one is the 5 kilometer marker. And I came to 30 pylons, and that means I have to do something in my side screen with the and the total comes on 9.3 kilometers, and that means 5.8 miles. Now, so the horizon is rather close by, while it's shot from about 10 meters high, 33 feet. And according to the curve calculator, the horizon should be at about 10 point something kilometers. So the horizon is getting closer by. And the other picture, that is a picture from...
Can we not go anywhere?
And the other picture is from a video from Taboo, but the original is BMLS B69. This is shot from 1 feet high, and the second oil rig is at 9.41 miles, and the horizon is much farther away, as you can see. So,
and can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
So those two platforms are on in the same frame.
Yes.
Okay.
They're shot from one point. He has made a photograph. He filmed it from 1 feet and from 30 feet. And now going back. And I want to share a thought about the first Soundly picture, because this came to my mind. Maybe it's just a zoom effect, because normally everything goes in straight lines to the horizon. But if you zoom in, you stretch the image in width and height, but you compress it in depth. Yes? So when then the horizon gets closer, the objects standing on the surface still get larger. So the infamous bulge that shows in this picture could really be that because the objects get bigger, there comes a neck in the perspective. Do I say that correctly? Do you understand that?
I kind of followed along with you. There's the presentation that Life is Short covered something similar, but he also incorporated the effects of refraction and the atmospheric effects that I think, again, Flat Earth Perth discussed early on the live show, which is to say that if you've got wind, you're going to have a certain amount of the water vapour maybe whipped up because of that wind. So he went into the same thing, but with a lot more detail on top of it in terms of the other atmospheric effects that are going on at the same time. And he extrapolated it out with the temperatures. So he applied the... Sorry, go on.
All of Stanley's footage is just zooming into distortion. That's
I don't think temperature can cause visuality changes, but it changes the conditions in the atmosphere that change the visuality.
You can see the curve way before it reaches the horizon, though.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
So you've got, if we're looking at the apparent horizon, which is the lower red line, and then you've got the second red line, and you've got the third red line that cuts right through
those red lines are therefore showing the different mirroring effects in distance.
That's the point that I was going to try to make right there, so that you have the base of these towers coming to a point and mirroring back on itself. So if this was supposed to be physically concrete for us, we should have a continuation of those pylons still into the distance because they're physically there, but all of a sudden we have a visual obscurity and they stop being seen. So that goes into the atmospheric distortion as well. That just shows us right there that what we're seeing isn't physical. It's not physical.
So where do you think it starts distorting? The bottom red line?
I agree with that. And I actually have a follow-up question. And I'm sure Travis will know what I'm talking about when I start it. So this footage we're looking at, right? This tower that's standing to the left of the pylons, this whatever cell tower, whatever that is, right? From appearance. Say again?
It's a tower that continues the line, but has to cross a waterway.
Right. So so that tower that's standing up onto the left, right? Whenever I've asked a baller or somebody, why don't we notice any tilt, right? Backwards, because obviously if this atmospheric craziness we're seeing is supposed to be curvature, right? So I've asked ballers, why is that tower not curving down or tilting away the same way these pylons are? And their response to that is always, well, you would only, you need to go 69 miles to see 1 degree of tilt. Now, my problem is, what I don't get about that is if we're seeing all this curvature before in the foreground, how is it that we need another 69 miles to see a 1 degree of tilt for this tower that's behind the curvature?
Right. I made this point too.
Somebody help me with that. Somebody help me with that, please.
Yeah, so here it is. Let me say it this way. We're actually seeing tilt at 1/3 the distance that you're telling me I can't see tilt.
Exactly. Because how far away is this?
Right, not even 20 miles.
Exactly. That's my point.
But here's my follow-up question real quick, okay? So how tall are these towers? Does anybody know that documentation? How tall are the towers?
No, I've been trying to look that up, but I couldn't find it.
Okay, so then my question is that tower in the distance that Chocolate was talking about, is it twice?
That is 63 meters high.
Okay, so my question would be is it comparable to the height of these other towers, because it looks like it's at least twice as high, if not higher. Is it really that big?
It's really that big, yeah.
Yeah, but at 20 miles, shouldn't it be a smaller size? Because if it was closer, remember, if it's closer, that thing would be huge. Huge.
Yeah, you guys' argument about the distortion is kind of null, because you can see the distortion way before the horizon. You can see the curve way before the horizon, at the top and the bottom.
Sure, that's part of our point, though. is that there's distortion, so it's not concrete.
What I see in these pictures is a straight line towards the horizon, a straight line in perspective behind the horizon, and in an area around the horizon, a small curve. That's all.
You can see at the top and the bottom, there's a curve. It's a constant curve. It's in the front of the picture, in the back of the picture, in the middle of the picture.
So unorthodox.
That is distortion. It's nothing to do with the curve.
Okay, unorthodox. So if we're looking at the curve, please explain to me why that tower to the left of the pylons is standing straight up 90 degrees with no apparent tilt or curvature to it, when that's obviously in the background of the curvature itself. Thank you.
So let's see. So, on our model, you would need 69 miles to see 1 degree of tilt. So this is 20 miles away. So that would be like a third of a degree. A third of a degree, right?
No, stop. Were you not just paying attention? Because you're telling
I'm trying to answer the question.
No, you're telling us right now that at 1/3 that distance, we're seeing curvature.
Because you have a unique structure. It's a monument to Earth's curvature, right? The only reason you can see it is because they're placed one in front of the other.
Unorthodox.
Sorry,
the
can someone get quotes around that?
Religious
Can someone get
zealous.
quotes around that? It's a monument to Earth's curvature.
Yeah, there you go. Monument to Earth's curvature. I got that from Sam Lear the other guy. That's pretty good.
One of the statues you worship as a glober, isn't it?
Unorthodox.
I mean, look at it, guys. It's a monument, right? That's all you need.
It's
unorthodox.
science,
Please try to understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. You are seeing curvature at whatever distance this is. Somebody tell me how far this is. What is this again?
It's because you can compare it to the pylon in front of it and behind it. That makes you able to see the curvature. That one is isolated.
And what about all of the rest of them?
Oh my god.
That are not in that specific frame. How about the rest of them?
I don't understand what your argument is, Arwen.
I was just about to say exactly that. He doesn't understand it. It's been explained to him for 10 minutes and he doesn't get it.
Yeah, you can't even comprehend the question. Like, I don't understand how you can't comprehend what I'm saying. I'm not an engineer or anything like that, but I can look at it and understand what I'm saying. I'm sure everybody else on the panel understands what I'm saying. You're the only guy who doesn't.
Let me say this again. Maybe you didn't hear me. The reason you can see the curvature in the Stanley photos is because you can distinguish it. The one in front and the one behind. That you're comparing them with the one in front and the one behind. The one on the left is isolated. There's nothing in front of it. There's nothing behind it to correlate it with curvature.
It's not isolated. It's connected. They're all joined. They're part of the whole picture. The thing that's isolated is the framing that Soundly gives us of just the distortion at the end of the furthest zoom.
I thought this was a separate tower.
You thought
At
wrong.
the top left. I mean, regardless, it's isolated. I don't see anything around it to compare it to.
Unorthodox.
No,
in
it's
your
just
mind,
higher.
that tower is not in the background of the curvature that we're looking at?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So if we're seeing all this curvature in the foreground, how is that tower, which is further away, standing straight up, 90 degrees, no tilt, no lean, no nothing?
I want to answer that. It has curvature exempt status.
Maybe, I don't know.
I can't believe you would expect to see a third of a degree of tilt at 20
Dude.
miles. That's so disingenuous.
Are these pylons curving away at 69 miles? Your 1 degree? Is that 69 miles we're looking at, or how far is this footage?
I'll say it again. You can compare it to the pylon in front and behind.
Dude, how far away is this footage? Right? How far away is this footage that we're seeing curvature? Please.
I'm not sure how far this is. I thought the gentleman said 20 miles.
Right. So the 69. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The big tower is about 25, 26 kilometers away.
Yeah, 16 to 17 miles away.
Yeah, but we need to know the height, because that's part of my point and that we've made all this time with perspective and distance. That thing, if right, I mean, the way that we're talking about perspective is that thing is so huge, it's bigger than the pylons that we're looking at right now, which would mean if we were standing nose to nose, that thing would be the size of a skyscraper at 15 miles away. It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. You know, I'd like to, if I had a pin in front of me 10 feet and I tilted it a third of a degree away from me, you would not even be able to distinguish it that close.
Okay, why don't
that is such a slight tilt in isolation. It's only when you are able to compare it with objects
Sorry, I've just got to draw a stop to this.
That you get the distinction.
Sorry. What you're arguing for is the lack of tilt. And the picture that's on the screen is...
Yeah,
what do you mean no? You're saying we shouldn't see it because at 69 or 60 miles or whatever, there should only be 1 degree,
16.
which is... I'm still talking. So, you should be in perceptible amounts, right? That's what you're saying? It should be imperceivable?
Unless you have something to compare it to.
So, at 60... Yeah, but that's at 60 miles, right? 1 degree, imperceivable at 60 miles. Right?
We're talking about something that's 16 miles away, Nathan. So this is like a quarter of a degree.
So less.
Tilt.
So less distance, more tilt, more curve.
No, less distance.
What's on screen? Can you not
tilt.
see on screen? So what's going on then? If this isn't curve and tilt, is it like we assert then? Because it should be.
Talking about the one in isolation, Nathan.
I haven't finished a sentence. You're jumping
Part
all
of
over
the
me.
picture.
It's on screen, and you're saying the tilt should be imperceivable 1 degree at a much 3 times, in fact, the distance. Yet in a very small frame at the end of a very small zoom, there's tilt. So there's a contradiction, and you're arguing against what's on screen. Now we're saying it's just a load of distortion at the most zoomed in point. But you're saying no, it's imperceivable tilt that we don't see. Well, why do we see it then?
I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
You haven't.
I don't think
you're not saying anything. I was just talking. It wasn't that you had just finished a sentence. It was me.
What you said makes me believe you don't understand what I said.
I'm looking at a picture. Do you see them tilting away or not?
No, I can't distinguish them tilting away.
So they're not tilting away.
Curve.
Hands up on the panel who thinks this visually represents them tilting away.
I would venture to guess they're at 90 degrees at every single location.
No, but visually represented in the picture, it's told to us at nausea that this is curve that we're looking at. They're curving, right? Tilting away from us on a curve. So that's what we're told this is. And we've got the glober on the panel telling us that the tilt should be imperceivable at 3 times the distance.
We're talking about the one in isolation, Nathan.
The one what?
The only way you're able to see it is because there's one in front of it and
See
behind
what?
it. And
See
then in
what?
front of it again, in front of it again.
Yeah,
You're
saying
not
it.
pressing the pylons that are in a
Arwin,
direct
I've kept
sequence.
quiet so far. Just let me and Unorthodox thrash this out. So, see what? Keep calling it
Are we
it.
talking about the? Are we talking about the pylon that's in isolation or the line of pylons, Nathan?
We're talking about what's on screen. It's just a load of pylons in a
Clarify
row.
for me. Which one? Are we talking about the curved
which
section
one.
that looks curved, or are we talking about the one that's in isolation?
Isn't it all part of the
Arwin,
curve-
okay, my
curvature
bad.
part?
Every time I pipe up, Arwin likes my point and wants to have it for me. Go on, Arwin.
Please, Arwin, let him destroy this guy on this point, Arwin, please. This point bothers me so much. So please, Nathan, destroy him.
I can't. Arwin won't
Please,
let me.
Nathan.
I can't. Arwin won't let me.
I think he's gone.
So
He's gone.
So do we see these tilting away from us, as is visually represented and told to us? Oh, can you put it back on screen, Alexander?
Yeah. Okay.
So this is told to us by your side of the argument as, what did you call it earlier? Like a homage to the globe? So this is showing...
A monument to Earth's curvature.
So we're seeing them curve.
You guys like that one, don't you? Monument
You're not
to Earth's
listening.
curvature.
Answer my question. So we are seeing them curve then?
Are we talking about the one in isolation, or are we talking about the row, Nathan?
Them. All of them as a collective demonstrating cumulatively a curve. Yes or no? It's on screen. Why the hell can't you say, when it's needed to be said, that this is Earth curve? Yeah, Nathan, that's right. This is showing Earth curve. Bloody obviously, yeah? It's shoved in our face daily that this is Earth curve. When it comes to the point of the contradiction that we shouldn't see any tilt until 3 times the distance, you want to talk about one pylon.
In isolation, Nathan.
No!
You shouldn't be able to
No!
distinguish it in
Not in isolation. You keep misrepresenting what I've said. So, dumbass, not in isolation. Are we seeing the culmination of curve demonstrated by this group of pylons?
I would think it's blatantly obvious the answer is yes.
Oh, so they're curving away from us only over a 17-mile distance, even though you've told us that it should be imperceivable at 60 miles.
Imperceivable in isolation.
Yeah, and they're not, are they?
No.
Right!
I don't think he gets it, Nathan.
So they're not in isolation. They're not at 60 miles. It should be imperceivably curving away from us. And yet there it is, told to us and claimed to be Earth curve, even though it defies every rule in the book.
How does it defy every rule in the book?
Because we shouldn't see it. You've just told us it should be
imperceivable. It's not in isolation.
Oh, when I talk, you ask a question, you rumpus the shit out of me.
One in front of another.
Yeah, you can't help yourself. I'm telling you, you've asked a question, and I'm pointing it out using your own bloody words. So according to you, it's imperceivable at 60 miles. Here we are at 17.
Imperceivable
Oh, you're doing
isolation.
it again, asshole. You don't like your religion being pulled apart, your holy Mecca being crapped all over by flat earthers, the nonsense assertions that this is Earth curve at 17 miles when we shouldn't see any at 60. Yeah, you hate it. You want to talk all over me while I point out the glaring contradictions. All you can do is rumpus. That's the best you've got. This shouldn't show curve. It doesn't show curve. It's just a crappy, distorted, small frame of a misrepresentation of distortion at an apparent point that the ground meets the sky. That's what you've got. It doesn't show Earth curve, and it shouldn't show Earth curve, even though you claim it does.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. This, in conjunction with his GPS measurements, pretty much put the nail in the flat Earth.
It's just a picture. Don't need anything. It's a picture, and according to this picture, I'm looking at Earth curve when I speak to idiots who think that you should see Earth curve at 17 miles when you've got a tiny, tiny bit of a very long stretch of 17 miles. It's not like we've got all 17 miles of curvature. We've got the last couple of inches in his very zoomed in frame showing stuff tilt away from us when it shouldn't do it at 60 miles.
No, you shouldn't be able to distinguish it at 60 miles.
And yet we can!
Because it's a monument to Earth's curvature. There's one pylon in front of another pylon, in front of another pylon, in front of another pylon. And you distinguish the distance between one pylon and the next.
And yet we can distinguish it, can't we? It's visually bloody obvious if you're a globehead. This is curve, even though it shouldn't be.
No, it's not that it shouldn't be, Nathan.
Oh, really? So it should be perceivable at 17 miles. Oh, sorry, my bad. Not 17 miles. The tiniest of tiny sections of a 17-mile length. This is when it should be perceivable, even though it's imperceivable at 60.
Can I jump in just real quick? Because I think that Nathan, you've done a fantastic job, but unorthodox. Can you see? Are you at a computer?
Yeah.
Okay, so look up at the top of the screen where you've got 1150, the marker of 1150.
Okay.
Do you see it?
I think so. It's kind of small, but right in the middle frame to the right.
Sure. Okay. That's the first tower tip that you can see in isolation, right? Because the first one is obscured by the frame. Yeah.
And say that again.
That's the first tower tip that you can see the whole tower, because the one that's in front of it is obscured by the frame of the picture. It's
yes, yes.
Okay, right?
Yes.
So now move over to the 1050 mark. Do you see how far it's dropped down? Do you see how far it's dropped down unorthodox?
Yeah, as unorthodox will continually fail to get this point, I'm going to do one last shill for Flat Earth Perth. So if you're watching this show on either Nathan Oakley or Nathan Oakley 1980, you can go to the link in the info box below this video and pledge to the GoFundMe campaign to raise $1,000 to achieve a 30 times optical zoom for a drone cam. The drone itself will be bought by Flat Earth Perth, so he'll plumb up the money for that, but he is asking for $1,000 of the $1,700 to acquire this camera. Now, once he's done with it and gained all of his observations, he will potentially put this back out into the community. So hopefully a few people from the re-ups, premieres, whatever you want to call them, on those two channels will contribute. As I say, there is a link in the info box below this video. And with that, I will also say a massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of the premiering audience in Nathan Oakley 1980 and Nathan Oakley for tuning in and hopefully sharing this live debate and after show. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!